Every year I know we gonna go hard. We been that team ever since Bart started. All my cheeseheads go pack go. Ain't showing no mercy, cutting no slack, no. I ain't a bad sport and I'll even wish you good luck. Only thing I will.
Good evening and welcome into Lombardi's Legends podcast. I am Wags, and joining me as always is Dane as we record here on a Thursday evening and coming off a 2-game losing streak at home. Dane, Packers are 5-3-1, but it's overdue. We're not able to record a preview episode last week because of some schedule conflicts. But regardless, we're back and we're ready to get after it, Dane. I think talk some Packers. And just like we're going to get right here with the preview episode this week, I think the Packers are hopefully due for a get-right game as they travel to New York to take on the Giants here in Week 11 on Sunday. So, Dane, before we get into all of that, how you doing tonight, man?
Dude, I'm good. Good to see you, buddy. Disappointed in our pack. Obviously, we're going to get into that. But otherwise, it's a beautiful Thursday night, right? We can't complain. Can't complain here. Beautiful fall night in Wisconsin. But I'm disappointed in how the Packers have produced the last couple of games and how they performed. And I think there's a lot of self-inflicted wounds there. So, I mean, Wags, like, How are you feeling about this offense right now? I just have to ask you right away because I mean that it's been a problem. I think like how worried are you about this and like what's the root cause or are there many root causes at this point? I can't quite tell.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a question all of us as Packer fans and players and coaches included are sort of scratching our heads trying to figure out. 7 points at home and primetime. Eagles, look, they've got a good defense, but that's just not good enough. 13 points at home against Carolina. Carolina's improved from what they've been the last couple of seasons, but, obviously not anywhere close to good enough. So I think there's a lot of things that we can look at and point to for what's wrong with this offense. I mean, it has to start up front, though, Dane, and we can kind of go around and start to dissect some things, and can we fix it? Packers have not been able to, get consistency with that offensive line and that run game. And I think at their best under Coach LaFleur, that's been when they've been the most successful and most consistent in running this offense. So clearly that's been a disappointment, I think, so far this year. When you look at the stats, Jacobs has a respectable amount of yards. He's got a bunch of touchdowns. So it looks good in theory on paper. But I think it's just the down-to-down, series-to-series inconsistency that's been a big part of the problem. And some of it's been just missing assignments. Some of it's been shooting themselves in the foot with, procedural or pre-snap penalties, and some of it's just been plain out not, winning at the line of scrimmage. It seems like the answer changes from week to week and heck, even sometimes from quarter to quarter or series to series. So I think you have to start there. And I understand that the Packers kind of started behind the 8 ball up front this season. They were injured during camp. They cobbled together at week 1, and then they've been dealing with dings and minor to somewhat major injuries where Zach Tom missed multiple weeks. Banks has missed several games, and even when they came back, they haven't been fully healthy. That said, you really can't make excuses. Now we've got Elton Jenkins is out probably for the rest of the season, it looks like. So it's hard. I get it. But there's too much talent. And this is a offensive coaching staff that has always had very successful offensive lines over the years. So it is very puzzling to me that they haven't been able to get that squared away. And maybe that's part of which will, I think, lead to maybe, and I'll hand this off to you, some of the inconsistency in the game plan and the play calling at times, the situational play calling at times, I think has been a little bit of a puzzle. But I'm going to hand that off to you as a segue. Do you think that Coach LaFleur at times gets a little too stubborn and he looks at the team, and we've always been able to run the ball, looks at the talent and says, we've got the talent, we should just be able to out execute the opposition and get this thing going, and that doesn't lend to adapting to what they need to do to be successful in the here and now. So Dane, anything else to add on the offensive line before I kind of hand it off to you and look at maybe another cause of what could be making this offense inconsistent and struggling at this point?
Yeah, and not particularly in the offensive line, Wags, but offensively, we said it during the game last week on our social media as we were kind of live tweeting some of the game that with LaFleur, we don't know everything, but we've watched this team, and I could kind of predict what the Packers were going to be doing roughly on down and distance. And, I've watched this team for 30 plus years, but I'm not an NFL coach by any stretch of the imagination. So I imagine anybody who's, analyzing this for a career has a pretty good idea of, some of the tells from the opposing coaches. And that was hard, I think, to swallow for me this week more than any other week, was just how obvious I thought the play calls were going to be, what LaFleur is going to do. I mean, when it's second down, we're going to run the ball a lot, right? And we're going to probably run it up the middle, or maybe like a fake the end sweep. It's very predictable. It's extremely challenging because, yes, I think LaFleur, who I've been a huge fan of for the last number of years, this season, I'm starting to get more critical, and I'm getting concerned, if I'm being totally honest with you, because it's starting to feel like he's at a loss. Wags, the image of him, on the tablet on the sideline, and the camera's there, and he's, whatever he's doing there, that I don't want to sound like an alarmist shock jock radio guy, but it felt a little bit like the beginning of a potential end here with that. It just looked like he was out of sorts. It looked like he didn't really know what was going on. And I wasn't sure if he was playing it up or if that was sincere, but either way, it didn't leave me with a lot of confidence in the direction going forward. We've seen for the last couple of years, Wags, and you said it, I think, aptly, that, week to week, trying to pinpoint what the root cause is. What that really means is that this offense doesn't have an identity, and that's a problem. And that's something that I think starts with the coaching staff, and it starts with the head coach and the play caller. So I think LaFleur is stubborn. I think that, he's got a lot of pride. I think he's won a lot of football games in the league for the Packers. But all of that said, I'm starting to be concerned that he's starting to time out of his time here in Green Bay as a play caller and potentially as a head coach. And I don't want that. I want him to be successful here, but I'm starting to see the signs, and it's starting to feel a little bit like end era Mike McCarthy right now in Green Bay, where you can kind of feel that the coach is starting to just kind of lose momentum within the organization.
Yeah. And I think I'm just going to add a couple of things to that. I don't think Coach LaFleur, the play caller, and this might sound controversial, but bear with me here. I don't think Coach LaFleur, the play caller, has necessarily lost his fastball. Where I do think is he's struggled, and this is not anything new, is situational decision making. And I think it's easy to conflate situational decision making with poor play calling. And sometimes they do overlap. I do want to make that clear when it comes to predictability, or heck, you just look a couple weeks ago. And I think LaFleur sometimes coaches from emotion. We've gotten into arguments way back when we started this podcast about, gut decisions and understanding and believing in momentum and having a good feel for the moment. And this is going to sound pretty damning to say this, but I don't think Coach LaFleur has a good feel for the moment as a head coach. I don't know that he ever really has. I'm thinking about, they were down, what was that, 8 points to Carolina a couple weeks ago. There was plenty of time in the game. Defense was doing an outstanding job. The offense had been struggling all day, and you've got a 4th and 8. They had just had a 3rd down play that got blown up. They waste a timeout, first of all. And then on top of that, they go out there and had an awful play and execution on a 4th and 8 in the red zone. And you're just leaving points on the board. They end up losing the game on a last-second field goal by 3 points. See, these are the things that I think it's very fair to be critical of Coach LaFleur, because he hasn't necessarily shown improvement. And I don't know if this is something that is a skill that you can learn. I think you either have it or you don't. These guys all know football, but it's almost like Coach LaFleur likes to overcorrect sometimes and, show that he's like the tough guy and willing to, take shots. And it's not like it never works, but it does sometimes feel like he is missing the moment in some of those situational decisions and situational play calls. The 4th and 3rd and shorts, where he absolutely has become predictable in trying to run the football. Listen, I get it. You've got a good offensive line and you've got a power runner in Josh Jacobs. There's no reason you shouldn't be picking up a 1st down 98% of the time in those situations. But for whatever reason, it seems like they're less successful. I know that injuries can be another thing you can point to, and I don't want to play the injury excuse, but that's also a situational thing. Luke Musgrave got blown up on that 4th down this last week against Philadelphia. If that's Tucker Kraft, it's probably, a very well could be a different outcome. And I don't want to pick on Luke Musgrave. He's not the only one that got blown up on that play. That just to be clear, but the reality is you've got to coach to the situation, the players that you have. And what's going to put in the opposition and what's going to make you most successful. And I think at times Coach LaFleur has been a little bit, overly creative in trying to, show how all of these offensive, skill players and talent can get involved in the offense, rather than just focusing on let's get a rhythm and, like you said, an identity as an offense. I don't care if Romeo Doubs gets 15 targets in a game. If he's the one that has a mismatch, let's just feed him the football and let's go down the field. Let's get 1st downs on 2nd down and not put ourselves in so many 3rd down situations, high leverage plays where it's putting, it's a coin flip. You get a 1st down. And sometimes you're going to have weeks where that's not going to look as crisp as you would like. And that's when you get the results that we've had the last couple of weeks. So, I know fans have a lot of answers, but Dane, I'm going to hand it back to you. Is there anything that you think you would like this team and this coaching staff to do differently starting this week against a Giants defense that, quite frankly, has struggled quite a bit this year, and should be a defense on paper, at least, that this offense should be able to figure some things out and put some points up on?
Yeah. It's, I think that kind of the mentality that we've had for so long is you want to have a balanced running attack, to help complement the passing game or vice versa. I think that something that has been limiting for Jordan Love has been, it's been difficult, I think, for him to be able to get into a rhythm on a number of occasions this season. And we've seen some good Jordan, we've seen some tough Jordan, but I think that he's continuing to develop as a very, very strong quarterback. Wags, I'd like to see them push the ball downfield more and be more aggressive and put the ball in Jordan's hands a little bit more, and not maybe rely on that run consistently on second down. And, maybe you're going to go 3 and out sometimes. Sometimes you're not going to, right? And you're also going to probably get some more chunk plays out of it. We saw Jordan, I think, throw some good strikes in this game on Sunday. I'd like to see the Packers put the ball in his hands a little bit more. Point blank is what I'd like to do. And that's not a knock on Jacobs, not a knock on this offensive line for running, not running the ball. But I think that could actually potentially help the run game down the road, putting the ball in Jordan Love's hand, let him attack a little bit more. So that's really what I'm looking at. I'm not worried about our defense. Let me be very clear. I think our defense has been tremendous here for large stretches of the season with some minor blips, but overall been very, very consistent. But offensively, we paid Jordan Love franchise money. And, we've seen flashes of just extreme talent from Jordan Love, but now I think it's giving him the keys to the car, so to speak, of this offense and let him take this offense over a little bit more.
Yeah, for sure. I think the last thing that I would say is there a chance for this offense to play with a little bit more pace? We've been looking at this team, and the defense is very good. It seems like game plans from opposing teams is to slow the game down, limit possessions for both teams, make it a low-scoring game. Other teams know they're going to have a hard time putting up points consistently on this Packer defense. They don't want to fall behind and have to throw the ball a lot and maybe potentially risk more turnovers and really fall behind the 8 ball against this Packer team. So that seems to be a game plan that's also working. Regardless of the run, pass, balance, whatever, could we get up, maybe get the play in? I'm not even saying that we need to go hurry up offense or do series where we're rushing up to the line of scrimmage, but it does seem like we're letting that play clock run down pretty far. Let's get up there, snap the ball, get the defense maybe on its heels a little bit. I think good things have happened when we have caught opposing teams in substitution patterns, and Jordan picked that up from his predecessor as a way to put the defense on its heels. So to your point, give them the keys, but let's also just make some decisions, get those plays in. Let's play with a little pace and try to speed the game up on both sides of the football. The more possessions that I think the Packers can play in a game, I think I like their chances all the more. So I think it would be my last evolution that I'd like to see from an adjustment standpoint.
Wags, I think that's great. And now question, we're playing the Giants, right, on Sunday. We're going out there to New York. How do the Packers win this game? We've seen the Packers play up against good competition. We've seen them play down to bad competition. We've seen them kind of play with their food, so to speak, in some games. We've kind of seen good, bad, the ugly of this team throughout the season. So they got to go on the road and stop a 2-game skid. Jameis Winston is going to be the starting quarterback for New York Giants. The rookie sensation Dart is not going to be able to go with a concussion. Jameis Winston, big arm, right? Very aggressive, prone to turnovers. So I ask you, going in, what's the recipe for success for the Green Bay Packers to beat the New York Giants here on Sunday?
Don't beat yourselves, first of all, but I'd like to see them get off to a quicker start, and let's see Jordan Love be aggressive. Packers not including 2-minute situations against the Eagles. I saw on first downs ran the ball 12 times and passed the ball 3 times. That's not what they've done all throughout the season. They've been pretty balanced, which isn't abnormal for most offenses in this league. I think my bigger criticism, and it's been for some time, even before the more recent struggles have put it under a microscope, is that I think we run the ball to get into 3rd and short way too often. So it's great. I understand that you have a better chance of getting a first down when it's 3rd and 4 or shorter than when it's 3rd and 9. not arguing that the math works in your favor most of the time when you do that. I just think that this offense is potentially too talented and too explosive to be limiting ourselves to putting our in that many high leverage third and down and distance situations. Because if it's not clicking, or you get a pre-snap penalty, or you get a procedural penalty or a holding on that third and short, then you're probably going to be booted off the field anyway, and you've lost, the advantage. So let's let Jordan throw the ball on both first and second down more. We don't have to throw the run game out. This Giants defense is last in the league in yards per carry as a defense. They're giving up 5.4 yards per carry. So they've been, frankly, getting gouged against the run. If we can't run against this Giants front, I don't know who we're going to figure it out against, to be quite honest with you. But I've been calling for it for weeks. Let's let Jordan sling that ball. Let's move the sticks. And when you get over to the other side of the field shrinks a little bit. That's where you can try to get that run game going. And if you're down in the red zone, if it's inside the 10-yard line, you're better off having a third down from the 3-yard line than you are from the 9-yard line. You're not going to have any arguments from anyone on that. But that's where Josh Jacobs, makes his money. So we can pound the rock when we are in a scoring situation. And if you end up having to kick a field goal as the worst case outcome of that, I think you're going to be okay with that. I'm just more frustrated when we're in our own territory and we run the ball on first down, we run the ball on second down, and now it's 3rd and 5. And we picked up plenty of those. I think Jordan Love has been actually really good this year. I think he's just getting held back a little bit. Is he perfect? Has he made great decisions all the time? No. But for the most part, I think we're going to win and get out of this offensive funk if we let Jordan Love take the keys and be more aggressive on first and second down, and not asking him to figure it out on third down, whether it's third and short or third and long. Even when he gets those conversions, nobody is going to get third downs at a super high clip. So let's try to stay out of third down a little bit. Let's feed the guys that have the mismatches, and let's get it in a rhythm, and maybe get down and get this offense humming a little bit earlier in this game, and give this defense a lead to work with for once.
I love it. Wags, anything else you want to add? I mean, we're looking 30,000 foot tonight at this Giants team. I mean, I think it's a opportunity for a get right game for Green Bay. It's never easy in the NFL to get a win going on the road here, but I expect the defense to go full tilt, and Packers need to clean it up. It's as simple as that.
Yeah, absolutely. I think just looking at this Giants defensive front, one thing they do have is some talented pass rushers. So haven't been as good against the run, but that front, if you give them opportunities, I think they're gonna win some opportunities in the pass rush situation. So, Brian Burns, Thibodeau, those guys can get around the edge in a hurry and really give you some trouble. So Packers are going to have to keep their head on a swivel. Jordan's going to need to get rid of that football quickly, make decisions, and get the ball into the hands of his playmakers. It does look like, just looking at from an injury front, that Golden is tracking to probably play this week. So that's going to be good news, I think. And Wicks, I think Wicks, where has he gone? He's been, disappeared from this offense. A couple years ago, he looked like a guy that could really be a steady, third, maybe even a second wide receiver. So maybe get some of those guys if they have some opportunities. Just need to get that rhythm in the passing game. Just go from there. So that's what I'd really love to see this week. I know that the Giants are probably going to pull out similar game plan to what's been working against the Packers. Play a lot of cover 3, cover 2 shell defenses. They're going to be in coverage and make the Packers try to run out of it. so far the Packers haven't been able to do that. But I think we need to see if we can get more in the intermediate pass game and not fall into the trap of forcing the run and then those horizontal passes in the flat along the line of scrimmage. That allows the defense to really even that much more press up and put a lot of pressure on Packers. Play action doesn't work if you're not able to get anything going there. So they're really stifled right now and limited in what they're trying to do. So I think they just need to break out of that. Let's try to just be aggressive in the intermediate and vertical passing game and force defenses to have to cover deeper down the field. And then I think that can really start to open some things back underneath. And now, hopefully, you've broken out of it and you've got your full offense back at your disposal. Does it sound easy enough to do, Dane? Let's go. Let's go out there and do it.
That's it. That's it, huh? That's all we got to do.
Yeah,
I love it. Wags, we talk X factors. Let's talk some X factors here. I'd like to get a sense of offensively maybe first. I'll let you do the honors. Offensively, who's your X factor this week that can make a difference in winning this football game?
Yeah, man, I just said him. I'm going to be going back to the rookie, Matthew Golden. I think it's parallel. He's not had the impact this season, obviously, that we were expecting, hoping him to have. I'm sure he's as frustrated as anyone. It looked like early in the season he was starting to kind of get some traction. He was getting open. Finally, he started getting some more targets. He had a couple of games. He had some some good yardage catches. I'd love to see all of a sudden it would be kind of out of nowhere if Golden comes in and has a huge week this week. But that's kind of what we need is an X factor performance, truly X factor performance like that. I think to get this offense out of its slump. And so if he's able to deliver that, I think that can just change things in a hurry as far as what this offense looks like. So it's not all on him, but he's the type of player, the type of talent I know that could change the fortunes of what this offense looks like pretty quickly. So for that reason, I'm going to go back to Matthew Golden as my offensive X factor this week. But Dane, who do you have?
No, it's great. I'm staying in the wide receiver position group. I'm going to Dontavian Wicks. He's been banged up this year, missed some games with injury. But when he's out there, he seems to be able to find a way to get open. He had some drops issues last season. He hasn't just been able to put together enough games, I think, this year to make an impact. We saw him last week, but it should sure be nice to get him back out there playing ball this week, Wags. Get him out in space. He's really a strong runner as a slant route runner. Around the line of scrimmage, around the red zone. I think he can be dangerous for Green Bay, be a target that Jordan can rely on. So this is the week I think Dontavian Wicks can move the chains and heck, even maybe find the end zone. So Dontavian Wicks is going to be my offensive X factor this week.
And I will say this to Dontavian Wicks. I have vivid memories of some of his best catches being kind of those post corner routes, which can be a cover two breaker. And so he's the type of player that could create mismatches or find some holes in the defense, or he's been able to do that in the past when he's had some of his bigger catches, bigger moments, and bigger games. So I love that as a selection for an offensive X factor as well. Dane, let's swing over the defensive side of the ball. And I'm going to tee you up to take the first crack at an X factor for defense. Who do you have on the defensive side?
Yeah, Jameis Winston, Wags, giveth, he taketh away, right? He's a guy who's, big quarterback, super entertaining dude, right? He's always fun to kind of watch and track. But I think the way to get him to win this game is to knock him off his mark. The Giants are going to spend a lot of attention on Parsons. I know that they just fired their head coach and, there's going to be some change there, but all these coaching staff, they're going to know, keep Parsons off of Jameis Winston. It's going to open up opportunity for Rashawn Gary to have some one-on-ones, Wags. And Rashawn Gary is going to be my defensive X factor this week. He's had a productive season. I want to see him be a heat-seeking missile this week on Jameis Winston, because that's how we're going to win the game, is if Rashawn Gary and company is in Jameis's face. So Rashawn Gary is my defensive X factor because of these one-on-ones. He's going to have to win these one-on-one matchups. He's going to have to get to the quarterback. He's going to need to do it consistently. He's going to need to get pressures. He's going to need hits, potentially some sacks here. But I think that Rashawn Gary is going to have a really, really big productive game for the defense. So that's why he's going to be my X factor this week on defense.
All right. Maybe I shouldn't let you go first because he was going to be my selection, but not to worry. I'm just going to lean into everything you said. And Jameis is going to throw us the football. So someone on the secondary is going to have to be an X factor to complete the total piece of that equation. I'm tempted to go with Evan Williams. I think he's been playing some great football. But I got to go with Xavier McKinney. Returning to New York, I think this is a week that he's going to get his hands on the football, get a big pick. I like the idea of Jameis, throwing us multiple interceptions. I'm not going to get too greedy though. In this case, though, I think Xavier McKinney does end up with an interception in his return to New York, sticks it to the Giants, and the Packers are able to, like you said, get pressure on Jameis, create some turnovers. This has been a defense that has been playing some excellent football overall for most of all of this season, aside from a few moments, but hasn't really created a lot of turnovers. I think this is the week that they are able to get that done, and give the Packers some short field opportunities on the offensive side. And heck, maybe even the defense says, it doesn't matter, offense. We'll go ahead and put some points on the board for you. Make sure we win this football game. So I like X to be the X factor this week. Xavier McKinney on the back end. So Dane,
love it.
Yeah, time for score predictions. Is this going to be a get right score prediction, or are you going to predict another nail biter in this one?
It's going to be a close game. I predict Packers 24-17 win this game. They go on the road and beat New York, but Wags, I think it's a slog. I think it's going to be a tough game. I think it's going to be close. Jameis Winston's going to keep the Giants in it with that big arm because he's probably going to produce some big plays, both ways potentially this week. That's just kind of his MO. But I think the Packers do come out on top. I think the offense breaks out enough to win the game, but I don't foresee some, huge turnaround where they pour on a ton of points either. I think the defense helps this offense out a ton, and Green Bay gets enough points. And heck, right now, Wags, I'll take 24 points. That would be a lot of points for this offense. So I'm going 24-17. The Packers win this game.
Yeah, Giants have given up over 30 points in 4 of their last 5 games. And in the week before that streak started, they gave up 26 points to the New Orleans Saints, and that was not with Tyler Shuck at quarterback. It's a revised, I think, New Orleans Saints offense last week. If the Packers don't score more than 24 points on offense this week, I'm going to be super disappointed. I guess that's an improvement from what they've been doing. But I think this has to be, it might be a little ugly. It may not quite be fully where we want them to be, but I think I need to see this team score 30 points this week. I'm going to go 31-14 Packers in this one. It may not be as big of a margin of victory. I mean, the game may seem closer than that, is what I meant to say, but I think they kind of hit the pedal to the floor eventually and create a little separation. At least that's what I'm hoping for, is the Packers get right this week. And frankly, if they are not able to take care of this Giants team, I know they've been competitive at times, but they're on their last leg now, truly. I mean, they've had so many injuries. Neighbors is out. Scadaboo looked like a real stud. He's out. Jackson Dart kind of got him going offensively. He's out. I mean, there's only so many injuries a team can endure. Heck, the head coach is gone now, and it's been for a couple of weeks. I think this is a game the Packers need to just go. I know it's down the road. They've been struggling. but they need to go out there and take care of business. And I think they will. I really do think that they're going to figure this out this week and get back on track, and hopefully something to build off of. So 31-14 Packers is what I've got for a score in this one.
Oh, Wags, that's what I'm hoping for, buddy. I'm going to cross my fingers for this one. Let's have a good Sunday. That's the goal here. Well, just thanks everybody. It's always so much fun. We get to hop on, talk Packers with you. So thanks so much. Wags, you got anything else as we close this thing out?
No, man. As always, ending with be legendary and go Pack Go.
Go Pack Go.
Every year I know we gonna go hard. We been that team ever since Bart started. All my cheese heads go Pack Go. Ain't showing no mercy, cutting no slack, no. I ain't a bad sport and I'll even wish you good luck. Only thing I will